The first thing we do when we start to winterize the cabin is to get the compressor set up. This compressor here, this is the line pressure. We want to set the line pressure using this control here between 40 and 50 pounds. This is the tank pressure. This should be about 150 pounds. We don't want 150 pounds on the system because you'll blow out the seals in the faucets in the toilet tank. So we want the line pressure to between 40 and 50 pounds, which is where it's at right now. Then we turn the compressor on. Well, the compressor will be on. And let it build up pressure.
Now, I have a question. You said we need to set this button at 150.
No, that's automatic. That just tells you how many pounds is in the tank. This tells you what the pressure is in this line going out.
Okay. Done?
Yeah.
And do we turn that on?
It's already set to go. It's plugged in and ready to go. The next thing we do is we go underneath the sink on the right-hand side in cabin 10 and shut off this gray valve all the way in the back. Shut it off. Okay?
That's that thing with the stick hanging down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now keep the camera rolling. Back up. Now we go into the cabinet where the hot water heater is. This is where the hot water heater is. Cabin 11 is on this side. It was never turned on.
Cabin 11 is the little cabin, correct?
Right. Cabin 10 is the water on this side.
That's the cabin we're in.
So we go down here and we remove the cap from this faucet here. You're shooting upside down. And this little attachment here gets put on here.
Can I see that again?
This attachment here
Okay.
gets put on this faucet right here. Okay. Tighten it up. Now, can you give me the compressed air hose from over there?
Here, I'll hold the camera.
Just go and get it. Now we hook up the compressed air hose right here. Come on. Like that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, we open this valve. Shut the camera.
Okay.
Okay, we have the air compressor hooked up here. Now we're going to open this valve. That pressurizes the system. We have the water shut off under the sink. This pressurizes the system with air. Now we have to blow down into it. I think we have to blow this down. We have these hoses here to hook up. Yellow is hot in most cases here. Yellow is hot and blue is cold, except for here. This is a cold water line. This is the incoming water
show
line.
That again?
This one here, where we have the air hooked up, is the water coming into the system. So this is cold water, but it has a yellow valve on it. We hooked the wash machine hose up to this hot water line here, and then put the end of it in this 3-inch pipe here. That's a drain. Now we can slowly open this valve, and it's draining the water heater. Draining all of it. You want to keep your hand on this hose because otherwise it'll fly out. I've drained the hot water heater. There shouldn't be any water in here right now, but we'll check it again later. Now I'm going to go outside and open the hose bibs outside to drain as much of the system as I can. On the back of the cabin there are 2 hose bibs here. The one on the left is hot water, the one on the right is cold water. We want to open them up. This is the lowest spot in the system. We're going to come back and we'll check this. This will be the last place that we'll come back and check to make sure all the water's out of the system.
So we're back inside now, and the compressor is running. Will it run until the system is pressurized?
No, it'll run until the tank has 150 pounds of pressure in it. Now, the system is pressurized. It has 50 pounds of pressure in it. You can see right there, there's 50 pounds of pressure in the system, but that's air pressure, not water pressure. And when you're doing this, you want to shut off the water heater, because if there's a flow sensor inside the water heater, and even if air is pushing through there, it'll set off the flow sensor and it'll turn the water heater on. So you want the water heater shut off when you're doing this.
So even before you did the connections and everything, you shut that off. And that happens with this?
Yes.
You
just push it in to shut it off.
Oh, push the button in?
Push it in to turn it on, push it in to shut it off.
Okay.
Now, we've drained the outside hose bibs. Now we come in and I start with the sink closest to the water system and blow it down. That should be good enough. Okay, now we're going to go into the shower. Now we're going to do the shower in the bathroom. I take the shower handle. I need to make sure that both the handheld and the shower head are both turned on with this valve up here so that we drain everything. Now I turn on the faucet slightly and get the majority of the water. It's taking all the water out of the system. Now I have to open the valve all the way to get the hot water out.
So you do the cold water first and then the hot water?
I turn the faucet on slightly. That will drain the majority of the water. Then I turn it on all the way to make sure that the water is out of the hot side as well as the cold side. And then what I do is I put the handheld shower head on the floor so that any water that's in this line will drain out.
And then you turn the water in the off position when you're done draining it?
Correct. Now the toilet. The toilet is full of water. Okay? The tank is full, the bowl is full. First thing we're going to do is we're going to flush the toilet. Now air is coming into the tank because there's air in the line. I have to reach down and shut off the toilet tank on the side. The next thing I'm going to do is to take the battery operated pump and pump all the remaining water from the tank into the bowl. There's a little reservoir in the bottom of the toilet tank. You need to make sure that the pump is all the way down into the bottom of the reservoir to get as much water out as possible. And pump the water into the bowl. Quite a bit of water in this tank that has to be pumped out. Okay, we got everything out of there. Keep the camera rolling. Now we have to pump out the bowl, but before we do that, we want to make sure that we get the anti-freeze ready to go. Because once you pump the water out of the bowl, you'll get the gas from the septic tank backing up in here, and it's quite putrid. So we're going to pump the remaining water into this little can that sits next to the toilet with the toilet brush or the plunger in it.
I assume you dump that outside when you're done.
I dump it in the shower stall.
Oh.
Now, the sewer gas is already starting to come up, so we want to put this, it takes about a half a gallon to fill the bowl, half a gallon. Then we're going to take the plunger, remove the strainer from the shower stall, take the plunger and plunge this to force the water out of the P-trap, and then take the antifreeze and pour about 12 to 16 ounces of antifreeze down there.
Done.
Stop. We also have to add some antifreeze to the toilet tank itself, and I put enough in there so that it's about a ½ an inch deep, and that should suffice. And what I do in the kitchen sink is first I'm going to make sure that there's no more water. There's air. We're good. This is cleaned out. And what I do in the kitchen is there's a P-trap underneath, and I want to try and force as much of the water out before I put antifreeze in there. So what I do is I pull one strainer out, put the plunger, and I push down on the other strainer to hold the pressure. Okay, that should, there's only one P-trap, so as long as I hold down the strainer on one side, and all I have to do is put about 12 ounces of antifreeze in the one side, and then it'll fill up the P-trap. And just set the strainer back in there. We're good to go.
What are you doing?
Just make it. See, I hear water here, but I have to, okay. Ready?
You're on.
Okay, the next thing is we're going to disconnect this from here and put the cap back on it. And then we have two valves on the right hand side here that we need to drain. We're going to take the caps off of here. And we're going to put this hose on here, making sure not to cross thread it, and you want to get it tight so it doesn't leak, and the end of it gets stuck in this pipe. And then this hose goes on here, okay, and the end goes in this pipe, this stand pipe here. Then we crack it open slowly. It sounds like the system is empty, but I'm going to give it another minute. Once the compressor shuts off, I'll crack those valves open again, make sure that it's completely drained. Then there's one more place that we need to put antifreeze, and that's in this standpipe, because there's a P-trap at the bottom of the standpipe here, and if there's water left in there and it freezes, it'll break the pipe. So we need to put antifreeze in there. The reason why we have to put antifreeze in there so it doesn't freeze and break the elbow. We have to put more antifreeze in here because we can't plunge it to force all the water out. So we got to put enough antifreeze in there to try and flush as much of the water out as possible. Now, as soon as the compressor shuts off, I'm going to crack these valves one more time to make sure that everything is drained.
Done.
There are 6 places that you can hook up hoses to drain. This side here, these 2 here are for cabin 11. These 2 drains on this side are for cabin 10. Then you have 2 more drains just for the water heater. One here, cold, and one here, hot. And what you do if you want to drain that is you take these caps off, you put your hoses on and put them into the standpipe, and then you slowly open this valve here, slowly, to force whatever water might be in the water heater. But I'm fairly certain that it is drained now. I'm going to crack these one more time. Only thing that's coming out is air. Just air. Just to be on the safe side. I'm going to open the discharge from the water heater just to be on the safe side. So I'm hooking up the water hose here, slowly cracking this open. There's no water in the water heater. We're good to go.
Done.
Yeah. The last place we need to put antifreeze is in the standpipe here in the hot water heater closet. There's a P-trap at the bottom here. I took the last of that gallon of antifreeze. That should do it. This may be overkill, but just to be absolutely certain that all the water is out of the system, and because these 2 outside hose bibs are the lowest point in the system, I still have the system pressurized with air, and I'm going to check them one more time. I'm fairly certain that we're good to go. Now that we're done, I leave the system pressurized. It's pressurized to 50 PSI. Okay. Now I'm going to shut the valve down at the bottom where the air comes in. I'm going to shut the valve first before I disconnect the air hose. I disconnect the air hose, take the adapter off the hose bib. The adapter goes in the bottom of the cabinet where the hoses are, and the cap gets put back on the hose bib. The reason why we have the caps on there is sometimes the seals in the valves go bad, and if they start to drip and we're not here, they can ruin the floor. That's the end of that. what we showed today was just how to shut the air, blow down the system and everything just for cabin 10. The reason why we did that is we had already winterized cabin 11, but it's the same procedure for both cabins. If both cabins were being used and I was going to do them both at one time, what I would do is I would start with the farthest thing from here, which would be the shower in cabin 11, and I would do the same procedure as I did in the shower here, and I would work my way back. I would do the shower, then I would do the sink, then I would do the toilet, and then I would shut the toilet off, and then I'd come back in here and I'd do the shower and the toilet and the sink, and I just work my way back to here. I do exactly the same procedure.
And then, but you have to hook the hose up here.
Yeah, you would do the same procedure. Hook the hoses up here and blow it down. Hook the hoses up here and blow it down. And what just as an added extra, I hook the hose up to the hot side, the discharge side of the water heater, to make sure that there's no water left in the water heater by chance.
So as far as what we saw here,
it's the same.
With the added, those two gets discharged, or the hose gets connected.
Right.
Okay.